What's up, TKO Nation? Welcome back to the TKO Podcast. Make sure you tune in.
That's right, baby. We are so back. Welcome back to the basement in Las Vegas, everybody's favorite UFC fight venue. The one that we're definitely not tired of seeing at all. The Apex. Here we are, baby. And today we have a middleweight main event. How could we be so lucky? Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez. Pretty fun fight, honestly. I mean, I think it's a pretty straightforward fight to guess what's going to happen here. You know, you got a guy who is super physical and, not very technical, powerful fighter, interesting grappling game, but really shit cardio and a really iron chin versus a guy who is Merab Dvalishvili at middleweight. So Merab's going to win, Anthony Hernandez is going to drown Roman Dolidze. Quick recap on last week. I shit the bed. I thought Park would do a lot better. But there's a reason Tyra's number 6 in the world. I think I kind of convinced myself into that pick. Watching Park's tape, I was impressed with him, but it's just too much too soon, realistically. I mean, we all know the expression, there's levels to this game, and in this game, it's kind of insane how many times you can learn the same lesson. But, hey, dude, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It was a pretty fun fight card. There were some really interesting matchups there. The Rebecki fight was crazy. The Rebovich fight was crazy. There was some other fun ones there. So I'm not mad at it. If I lose money and it was a good performance or it was a good fight, I'm not mad at it. It's when it's a shitty fight that really blows or an injury or something, But anyway, let's move on to this week's card. We got Dolidze versus Hernandez. I'll be honest, I'm not pumped on this main event because I kind of feel like it's a foregone conclusion. I just feel like Dolidze is not at the level of Anthony Hernandez. I think Hernandez should run through him. Maybe get a finish in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this fight go to decision where Hernandez just, constantly takes down and pressures and swarms and, smothers Dolidze. Dolidze maybe will pick up a round or two on some big punches, but I just don't see him getting a finish here, and I think he's the kind of guy who needs a finish if he's going to win, realistically. But let's go down the rest of the card because there are some other interesting fights here and some very easy picks, in my opinion. So hopefully this is the card that gets us back on the winning track. Co-main event, you got Steve Erceg versus Odi Osbourne. Is Steve Erceg trash? Is Steve Erceg ass? I don't think so. So he should win this fight. Odi Osbourne, talented fighter, powerful, long, but bad cardio, but bad wrestling, but bad grappling. So Erceg has a path to victory here. If he goes to the takedowns, he goes to the wrestling, he can get the submission for sure. Osbourne's been submitted plenty of times. Erceg has a ton of submissions on his record, mostly on the regional scene. I don't think he's gotten one in the UFC, but he has that game in his back pocket, and he's super skilled in general. Now, if Erceg comes out and does this, kind of, karate kickboxing type shit, he might get chinned here, which would really suck. Honestly, that would really blow because I like Erceg a lot, and I think he can compete with the top of the division if he focuses and does the right thing. So I trust him to do that in this fight. I think this is a great bounce back opportunity for him. Coming on 2-fight skid, they're giving him a big step down. Odi Osbourne is not Kai Kara-France. He is not Alexandre Pantoja. I believe Erceg should be able to get Osbourne down and submit him within the first 2 rounds. Next, you have Yasmin Lucindo versus Angela Hill. This is a fun, striking matchup between 2 women's strawweights. One of them a grizzled veteran in every definition of the term, and the other one a relatively young prospect who's on her way up and up. She's had some good fights, Lucindo, but she hasn't faced this level of competition. Angela Hill, I do believe, can take advantage of her in the clinch in particular in this fight, but I think Lucindo should be able to win this fight. She can go to the wrestling if she wants to. We saw it in, I think it was her last fight or the fight before, but she was able to go to her wrestling game and have success there. She just has more ways to win this fight. However, if she gets into a brawl, if she makes it a stand-up fight for the entirety of the fight, there's a good chance Angela Hill can sneak a couple rounds off of her. So it should be a fun fight, but I probably wouldn't bet on it. The fight go distance prop is like -600, which is absolutely ridiculous, but entirely fair because this fight will more likely than not go the distance. Both of these women are super tough. Um, yeah, let's keep going. We got Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez. I love this fight. Dangerous fight, honestly. Christian Rodriguez, big. I'm a big fan. C-Rod, very veteran savvy for a young fighter. Pressures the whole time. Lands in transition a lot, which we love to see, a la Piotr Jan or John Jones. Um, and good cardio, and the guy turns it up in the second and third. Typically, will either get a finish in those rounds or just win those two and get the scorecard. So I expect him to do the same here. I think Feely, very talented fighter, very big, hard hitter too, and really good cardio, really good durability. But I just feel like C-Rod's going to be a little bit too much for him in that second round. And third round, it's going to just snowball. So give me C-Rod by third round or decision. He might be able to get a finish in the third, but I think more often than not this fight goes to the distance. But play it safe, hedge it a little bit. So next you got Miles Johns versus John Matsumoto. I like this fight a lot for Matsumoto. I think this is an easy pick, Matsumoto by decision. Johns is a tough customer, but I think he's just tough enough to not get finished. And Matsumoto should win this fight. I thought he won the Rob Font fight, but it was a good one. I'm going to go with Matsumoto by decision. And you have Eric Anders versus Christian Leroy Duncan. This is a tough one because, let's say Anders comes out and wrestles him. He could win. Like, he really could. But he's so washed. He's so old. More often than not, I think CLD should get this done maybe by knockout. But waiting for this guy to knock somebody out is like, waiting for your dad to come home when he went out for milk. It's never going to happen. I'm sorry. But we'll see. Maybe he gets the knockout here. But I wouldn't bet on it because, again, he's super patient, and he'd be happy to just hit him and stay on the outside for 10 minutes or 15 minutes rather. So, kind of a trap fight. I wouldn't bet on it. Next, you have Julius Walker versus Rafael Cerqueira. I don't know how this guy is still in the UFC, Cerqueira. Walker's going to knock him out first or second round. Easy. Don't think about it too much. Elijah Smith versus Toshiyama Kazama. This is another easy pick. Elijah Smith first or second round knockout. Kazama is one of the worst fighters on the roster. If you watch his fight with Champelos Gregorius, the guy's name was, it was some Greek shit. Man, that was a really, really bad fight. It was two guys who just, throwing over themselves constantly, never having their feet planted. Kazama was able to get him in a submission, but he should have been knocked out several times in that fight. He defends punches with his face. He only got the submission because the other guy sucks even worse than him. I don't, if you want to see a really good bad fight, watch that fight. But Elijah Smith, first or second round knockout here. Then you have Jocelyn Edwards versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Now, this is an interesting one because Edwards, in my headcanon, she's a decision merchant, but in these last couple of years, she's really started throwing with some venom and really started to put things together. And I'm really happy to see her grow her game because for a long time I wrote her off as somebody who's just going to stay on the outside and leg kick and pitter patter and stuff until a decision, not 29-28. But her last few performances, she's been pretty ferocious. She draws on Priscilla Cachoeira, a zombie girl who can knock you out if you give her the opportunity to. I don't think Edwards is going to give her the opportunity to. She's pretty good at staying on the outside. Cachoeira is another one who seems super durable. She's been durable her whole career, but sometimes her chin will just let her down. She'll just get slept, It's rare, but, it's kind of these fighters who, make a career off of taking damage that one day it's just not there anymore, So I want to bet on Edwards by decision at plus 110, but Edwards by knockout very well could have even a submission. I mean, anything can happen in this fight. But all outcomes are sure that Edwards is going to win. So if you are going to bet on something, bet on Edwards. I assume, I think over 1.5 is playing it safe. But, yeah, I would just take Edwards' money line if you're confident in her. Next, you got Uros Medic versus Gilbert Urbina. This is another fight. Why is this guy still in the UFC? The Urbina brothers, they blow. The Urbina brothers crawled so the Tafa brothers could walk. And they all suck. So Uros Medic, he should get back in the win column here. He had a rough go his last time out, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember who he was fighting. Puna Hill. Yeah, Puna knocked him out in like 30 seconds. That was a very motivated Puna Soriano in that fight. Uncharacteristically so, and I was happy to see him get it done there. But yeah, Urbina should lose this fight. I think Medic is good enough to get this one done. I wouldn't bet on it, but again, it's an easy pick. Next is Gabriela Fernandez versus Julia Stoliarenko. Here's the question, right? Stoliarenko, can she submit Fernandez in the first round with an armbar? If you don't think so, bet on Fernandez. This is Stoliarenko's game. She has, 11 wins, and 10 of them are by first round submission with the armbar. So it's pretty clear. Yeah, that's actually exactly what's going on. So it's pretty clear what's going on here. This girl is a first-round submission merchant, and if she can't get it, she loses. She only won one fight that went to the scorecards, and it was a split decision. Gabrielle Fernandez, we saw her whoop the ass of Kong Wang, and I think she should have good enough grappling to stop the one thing that Stoliarenko is going to try. So Fernandez in this spot seems like, makes all the sense in the world to me. So there's only one more fight on this card, and it's Cody Brundage. I don't know how Cody Brundage keeps getting these spots on UFC cards, but for him to open up the Apex, I feel is fitting. Fuck Cody Brundage. All my homies hate Cody Brundage, and he's drawing Eric McConico, who I hope will knock him out. Let's go down the betting slip here. We're going to keep it pretty short and sweet here, and we're going to go with some of these surefire picks that I was very confident in. We'll start with the main event. We're going to take Anthony Hernandez money line. We're going to take Steve Erceg money line, but I think the submission prop is worth a shot. We're going to take Christian Rodriguez round 3 or decision. We're going to take Gian Matsumoto by decision. We're going to take Julius Walker first or second round knockout, and Elijah Smith first or second round knockout. We got 6 picks coming at you. I'm hoping we can get the clean sweep here. I feel it in the air tonight, and I hope we can get it done. So just to run it down one more time for you, we're going to go Hernandez main event, Erceg co-main event. We're going to go C-Rod. We're going to go Matsumoto. We're going to go Walker by knockout, Smith by knockout. 6 picks for you. Most of them money line. You can throw in the props there. I'd recommend it. And as always, I recommend round robining. I just wanted to get this episode out real quick. I'm coming off of vacation, and I am so tired. I had to do a bunch of, planes and trains and automobiles and all that shit. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much for sticking with me and my decrepit demeanor and face. Things have been rough, so I'm happy to get back in the chair and talk about some fun fights. Let's hope that we get back in our winning ways, and I appreciate y'all for watching. Much love, y'all. Peace out.